Hey folks, I am Kevin Ioli. Welcome to Yahoo Sports. And on January 30th, there is going to be another super middleweight championship fight. This one's going to be in Los Angeles. You will be able to see that on Fox. And it's the Battle of the Calebs. And I got one of the Calebs here, the champ, IBF champion, Caleb Plant. He's going to be fighting Caleb Truax, the former champ. Caleb, how's it going, pal?
Going well, going well. Camp's been going good. So just ready for the 30th.
Let's ask you the question that probably everybody has been, what do you get asked more about, Caleb Truax or Canelo Alvarez at this point in your life?
As of now, I'm getting more questions about Canelo, but my focus is on Truax.
Yes.
So
And I guess that's the question. Sometimes when you have a fight out there that could be so lucrative and so significant in the division, it's hard not to concentrate on that. You're a young guy still, only in your third title defense in this particular fight. How do you avoid, thinking of what is to come? And Caleb beat James DeGale, an Olympic gold medalist, to win the title. He's a good, talented guy. How do you get that focus on him and put all the other stuff aside?
well, I think it's just about keeping my eyes on the prize, and that comes in steps. So for me to get where I really want, I have to take it one step at a time, and I have to focus on the plate of food that's in front of me, and not be looking down the road or at everyone else's plate. And I think boxing's been around for a while, and there's been a lot of great examples of what to do and what not to do. And you can look at those examples and learn through other people's mistakes as opposed to having to go through it the hard way. So there's been a lot of examples of other fighters who didn't focus on the fight in front of them, and bad things happen. So that's really all I need to know for me to make sure that I'm focused on January 30th and Caleb Truax, because otherwise it could spoil future plans.
As I look at your record, you won the title from Muskategi. I think Truax might, in my opinion, might be the best guy you ever fought. I wonder if you agree with that. I mean, do you think in terms of being a complete fighter and the most dangerous fighter, he's the best you've faced so far?
Um, I'm not sure. I know in boxing styles make fights, and I'll be able to give you a better answer to that after the 30th. But as far as Jose Uzcategui, I felt like he may, he may have been the toughest fight. There was a lot of people who didn't want to fight him. He had a lot of knockouts. Basically stopped Andre Durrell twice, and someone that people I feel like we're avoiding, and a lot of other people and a lot of other boxing experts were, calling him a dangerous guy and the boogeyman and this and that. And so I'm not sure. I know that Truax, he's upset some people. He's a former world champion. He's a rough and rugged guy, and I know that he's on a mission, but I'm on a mission as well. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun fight. How do you see the fight going? I mean, what do you have to do? What do you have to establish to win this fight?
I just got to go out there and be myself. And, I've set my standards high for this fight. I don't see it going 12 rounds. My goal is to stop him, whether that's him quit or them throwing the towel or the ref stepping into his job. I don't plan on letting this fight go 12 rounds. So.
Do you feel almost in a way that, you're going to be on Fox, you're fighting a former champion, that you need a statement like that? Because you're in a division, a lot of really good opponents, a lot of really good fighters out there. Canelo obviously is there. He just beat Smith, who is a terrific fighter. Yourself, David Benavidez. I don't know if Benavidez is going to be fighting at the weight class anymore, but, he's been there. So I guess the point being, there's a lot of good guys. Do you think, given the fact that you have this platform, you need to make a statement in it and show the world who you are?
I don't feel obligated to do it because of the platform I'm on or because of other fighters. I feel obligated because that's what I expect of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like each time since I won the world title, you're continuously seeing a better and better Caleb Plant. Each time I step out, new dimensions of my game and adding to the dimensions that I already have. And that's just a goal for myself, to go out there and to put on a dominant performance for no one other than myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for my team, we put a lot of hard work in this camp, and we put a lot of hard work in for a long time. And so I expect that of myself, not because of the platform or what other people expect from me. So.
Caleb, Do you think the next level for you is, start adding where you start finishing guys and you got that, I think everybody who has seen you fight knows you're a really good, complete boxer. You're a smart guy in the ring. Do you think that next level is adding the power that goes behind it, and not just in finishing guys, but hurting them as fight goes on and make them, kind of adjust because of what you're able to do during the course of the fight?
Yeah. You know, when I first turned pro, I was knocking a lot of guys out, and then for about 4 or 5 fights there, I started developing hand issues, and it would seem like in every fight I would hurt my hands.
Mm.
And in the Thomas Alwan Bono fight, I hurt my hand bad in the second round. In the Andrew Hernandez fight, I hurt my hand like in the third or fourth round of that fight. In the Jamar Freeman fight, I hurt my hand, and it just kind of seemed like to be a continuous thing. It almost made me change my style from sitting down on my punches to just wanting to touch people and keep sticking and moving and boxing. And then I fought Porky Medina, and I don't feel like I really fought to the best of my ability. I was kind of nervous about hurting my hands, and that was the first fight that I didn't hurt my hands. And then going into the Jose fight, I broke my hands in training. I broke my hand in training camp, and 5 weeks from the fight. And since the having those hand injuries, I've done a lot of grip exercises and hand strength exercises. And
Wow.
going into that Jose fight, I just told myself, like, man, you cannot fight with any reservation. You're going to have to go out there and be the Caleb Plant that you can. And you've seen what happened in that fight. And since then, my hands have held up, and you see what, happened to Mike Lee, you see what happened to Vincent. And so the power has been there. But of course, we've been added to it over the years, but the power has been there. The biggest part has just been those hand injuries, and those seem to be a thing of the past. And since then, I feel like you guys have seen a lot of knockdowns and a lot of big combinations, a lot of power punches, and that's something that you can look be sure to expect moving forward as well. So
I wonder what it's like, I mean, going into a fight against a guy that's trained 2 months to fight you has got to be mentally tough enough. Not a lot of people are willing to do that. You take that walk up those 3 steps and you say something about yourself, you're a courageous guy just to do that, right? But to then be in that ring and your hands are broken or your hands are injured, and your one of your main tools is gone.
mhm.
What is that like mentally? Like, what do you say to yourself? How do you keep yourself going in the fight and making sure that you don't, you work so hard to get to a certain point, and now, a fluke could cost you. How do you overcome that? What goes through your mind?
Well, it can be disappointing, but there's been plenty of within those 4 or 5 fights. There was a couple that, at least 2 or 3 where I didn't even tell my corner about it.
Mm.
Because we're already in there, there's no timeouts and there's nothing to be done about it. So me complaining is only going to make it more real.
Mhm.
So, you know, my corner was a bit surprised. They know me well. So for them to not have any clue that they were hurt, they were quite surprised by that. But, you're already in there. There's nothing you can do about it. And just like, people compare boxing a lot to life, there's always going to be variables that are thrown in there that you don't expect. And you just got to be able to adapt and fight through it. So I've had to do that a lot in the ring and out of the ring. And I feel like that's one of my best qualities. So.
Obviously people are familiar with tragedies you've been through in your life. Has that actually made you a better boxer, right? Because you've had to endure in life, unthinkable, tragedies. Does it kind of fuel an anger in you? And B, does it, because you've overcome that, does it tell you I can overcome anything?
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of boxers who have gone through a lot. I don't claim to have the worst story by any means, but there have been certain events that have happened in my life. And even besides those two events, I know people may know of those, but there's a lot of others as well. And
Yeah.
yes, knowing that I can get through those things and come out the other side even better, at this point in my life, I feel unstoppable. I don't feel like there's anything out there that can break my spirit or break my will. And there's certainly no man out there that can convince me that I'm scared of him after, some of these things. So yeah, I feel like those things have helped me become a better fighter. But again, those are just a few aspects of boxing. Those can make you better in a few aspects, but overall, you still got to get in there and, be able to fight. You still got to be able to be smart. But just being able to stay calm and relaxed in high intense situations, I feel like it has helped with that some, and it's definitely given me motivation for sure. So
I want to ask you, your thoughts on Canelo here for a couple seconds. And there was talk before he fought Smith that he was going to fight you. Were those talks? Did they advance anywhere? Can you fill me in on where they went in, and if they were legit, how did they fall apart?
yeah, I mean, there was never a contract sent over where, before contracts get sent, there has to be a lot of verbal agreements. So before people just start making up a bunch of contracts, but there was never a person. There was nothing, a situation where, I was trying to price myself out or anything like that. With there being about a 5-week notice, that'd be 4 weeks of training. And my manager, Luis de Cubas, he just felt like that may not be the best move from my career. And I, as a fighter, I want to fight, but at the same time, I agreed. And I appreciated that because, that would have been a big payday for him as well. So for him to not just be looking at the money, but for my best interest, there were also a handful of other fighters who didn't jump on that either. So our fight will happen. The Canelo fight will happen. He's saying it'll happen. I'm saying it'll happen. Our teams are saying it'll happen. So, have no fear. It'll go down at some point. So right now I'm really just focused on January 30th. Going back to the beginning of our conversation, that's where my focus needs to be at this time. But I will handle business and fashion on the 30th, and then have a better understanding and knowing of where the cards fall with that fight. And, hopefully we can get that made. Hopefully we will. It just, we just got to find out when.
I don't want to ask you about you fighting Canelo, but I want your reaction. I was impressed with him against Smith from the standpoint, Caleb, that I thought, he raised his game and he went in there, with a big disadvantage. When you looked at them at the press conference, it was almost funny. You looked at the two of them side by side, it was 7 or 8 inches in reach. And I thought that Canelo really raised his game in that. And for a guy to be considered the best fighter in the world, to be able to raise his game was impressive. As a champion in that weight class, what did you think of his performance?
Like you said, for him to get in there and do what he did, it was a good fight, and he looked well. He did well. And not to take away from anything that he did, but at the same time, it also seemed like Callum wasn't there to win. Just because you're in there doesn't mean that you're there to win. Some people play to win. Some people play to not lose. And at some point, it kind of seemed like he was just Callum was just trying not to get stopped or knocked out. And I don't really feel like in any round did he really say, I'm going to go out there and really in any part of any round and say, I'm about to take control. I'm about to try and change the momentum, even just a little bit, and that could have had, the training camp aspect could have had an effect on that with him not having, an 8-week proper training camp and, right. Making weight as well. I know that he's Callum, he's got a bigger frame. Pretty tall guy. So that's really where I stand on that.
And finally, are you going to put all your eggs in the one basket, or would you fight again? Like, in other words, if Louis said to you and Al Heyman said to you, hey, let's look at something in July and then maybe Canelo in September, would that be a possibility, or do you want to just go right into a fight with Canelo if it's available?
I guess I can't say for sure. As of now, it seems like it'd be for me to fight now, and then in September later in the year, we can get it on. But, I have a great team around me with Al and Luis, and we've done great things thus far. I only have 20 fights. I've headlined Fox multiple times. I'm defending my title for the 3rd time. So I have a great team around me. So after this fight, I'll sit down with them and we'll see what we can figure out.
And before we end this, I would be remiss. I caught a glimpse of her sneaking around in the background there. You got a star as a wife as well, who does a great job on the PBC boxing broadcast, and your wife, Jordan Plant. And I wonder, what is it like to have somebody with you that, is in the fight business? And is that a little comforting? She knows what you're going through and she understands all that. Does that make it a little better as a fighter to have somebody who understands the life that you go through?
Absolutely, it does. And then, also she was a Division I 100-meter hurdler too. So she's been an athlete at a top level. So she knows what it takes, and she knows, like you said, with her being in boxing so heavily, she knows what it takes to be a champion. And I think it helps her with her career too. You know, she's on the front line every day in the gym, whether it's sparring or whatever we're doing. So she's at all my workouts, and I really feel like it gives her an edge in her career too. So she's been doing really good. You know, she's done a couple pay-per-views, and she's really starting to catch her stride and what her niche is in boxing. And that's you know, the know-hows and knowing what to do and when to do it, and most importantly, why to do it. So, you know, I'm excited to see her continuing to grow in what she does, and you know, we got a great thing going. So
You're awesome. That's awesome. You know, she's doing a great job. So congrats to her, and congrats to you on January 30th. You can see Caleb Plant. He will be fighting on Fox. Caleb Truax. Don't miss that. That will be in Los Angeles. Caleb, once again, thanks so much. All the best to you, my friend.
yes, sir. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.